In the summer of 2007, representative samples of citizens from Maine and New Hampshire took part in a series of unique day-long sessions called Choice Dialogues. In each of these dialogues, participants spent an entire day working through the hard choices involved in solving some of the most difficult challenges facing our country. New Englanders were presented with important background information, possible choices, and their pros and cons. Their challenge was to find common ground on sustainable approaches to Social Security and Medicare, defense, other federal spending, and taxes and debt.
This exercise is really an experiment in trying to get a clearer voice of that general public, not interest groups, but just general members of the public, get that input into the decision-making process.
We're going to talk about what do we expect from the federal government, right? What programs and services do we think are absolutely critical that we must have, and how are we going to pay for those programs and services? What choices are we willing to make? What trade-offs are we willing to make for ourselves and for our children so that we can ensure we have the future we want in this country? Okay, and we're just going to take 8 hours to solve that. So get ready.
We need to consider, do we spend all our money on the elderly at the expense of everything else, or do we find a way of affording all of this, and in which case how?
In regards to the Medicare and the Social Security and the individual accounts, it's something that will have to be approached slowly. Definitely would be the way to go, but we need to educate people. We need to take the fear out of the whole picture.
First, Medicare, Social Security. We all agree that we need to maintain the moral commitment to our elderly because they work their whole lives and they deserve to enjoy their retirement without having to worry about unforeseen financial difficulties.
We figured we would reduce costs for Social Security and Medicare if our philosophy, instead of going towards just care, went into a lifetime focus of education and prevention.
What I found similar in all areas that nobody really wants to give up Social Security. They want to see it reformed.
I think that we should explore the possibility of private accounts to some extent in both health care and Social Security, and we should have some kind of safety net in each.
Reduce the medical benefits to level determined by a citizens group, including doctors, accountants, and regular, ordinary people like us, to decide what should be the baseline medical benefits.
I don't think anybody wants the government deciding that, okay, that's enough medicine, then if, you know, so be it, you pass away or something happens, you're going to be better. I don't think anybody wants that.
Keep Social Security safe and all the money stays in it so the government doesn't keep spending on different things it doesn't need to be spent on.
What I don't understand is why, in Social Security in particular, why Bill Gates or Warren Buffett or people who don't need the money should be getting, you know, a Social Security benefit for the rest of their lives.
We're paying more for basically taking care of a region that's not our own. We talk about there not being enough allotted to veterans and families. And I think one of the other things, really, if we keep it in the present course, we're basically depleting our economy, you know, putting ourselves more and more in debt.
Or do you also want accountability for things like, you know, I said the thing about the Cold War weapons that we're not using anymore. What about all those missiles that are hanging out in silos? We have 10,000 warheads that we don't need.
The future that we want may have more to do with diplomacy than with defense, and it seems to me that if we cooperate with the community of world nations, the spending on defense will automatically necessarily go down.
In the defense, everyone thought that we should be more accountable and basically spend our money smarter.
Federal system means each state has a certain degree of self-sufficiency under the umbrella of a federal government. And that's the way the system is set up. It's perhaps time to reconsider which aspects are federal and which aspects are state.
Going to other areas of federal budget. One was the elimination of non-germane riders to bills in the Congress. That's where you put a spending bill attached to a bill that had nothing to do with the issue.
We do want to improve education, I would assume. We do want to improve transportation. We do want to improve health care for children. Those are all things I would hope that everybody here would agree upon. Definitely. Unfortunately, to do those things, it will take money to make it be successful. And that's the sticking point.
some debt is okay, but it should be a manageable debt, not continually on the rise.
And we weren't real wild about increasing the debt, because I said about the deficit. So we came to the conclusion, which was not happy for any of us, because we seem to be a very New Hampshire group, that taxes had to increase. This wasn't something we liked, it was just something we concluded.
We want the rich to be able to pay their fair share of taxes and stop sheltering their money in offshore accounts.
If you have a national sales tax, people who have more disposable income will spend more, ergo they'll pay more in taxes. People who do not have as much disposable income will pay less. So it still works on kind of that sliding scale idea.
My problem is that it's a regressive tax, and it's going to hurt the people that can't afford it.
But I think we could find a commonality in all the groups as saying that the current income tax system needs to be changed.
People were willing to, in the live free or die state, open up their wallets a little bit for each other as long as we're getting the services that we need. And I was also impressed by the number of people that are ready, looking for some positive change, whether political group really isn't the thing, but just that it's time to start taking those steps to use the knowledge and information we have and move forward as a society.
I think what was not so surprising to me as seemed most important in listening today is the degree to which we are treating our problems as financial, whereas I think that the problems probably go deeper than that in the national character. My message to the decision makers is that I think we need moral accountability, we need truth and honesty and integrity in government in a way that we have not seen for years.
I don't have quite the dire feeling that some people I'm thinking may have had in here about the state of what our government is in. I really feel decision makers that you, for the most part, do try to do the best you can.
I think what I found most surprising today was how empowered I felt to know that other people want to talk about these issues and that there are people who are interested in knowing what I have to say. And I think that's affected my view by making me realize that it's my responsibility to communicate my beliefs to people who want to listen and to people who can do something about it. And it's also my responsibility to listen to what other people have to say and not just think about how issues affect me personally.